Good afternoon. This is Christy Smith with the Southwest Wisconsin Small Business Development Center. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about applying for the Paycheck Protection Program. I'm a small business owner just like you. I have my own concerns about keeping my amazing staff members as part of my business and providing an income for them during this economic downturn. So I'm glad to share these details with you. This is being recorded on April 6th, 2020. Everything I'm going to tell you is to the best of my knowledge at this time. All these details are subject to change. As you're all aware, things are changing pretty frequently right now. I would encourage you to reach out to us at the wisconsinsbdc.org or your local lender for the latest information at the time that you're ready to make an application for your own business. Let's talk about what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to talk about what the Paycheck Protection Program is, who is eligible to apply, which banks are participating, and all the details you'll need to gather in order to successfully complete your application. The Paycheck Protection Program was authorized as part of the Federal CARES Act on March 27th. It provides loans with forgiveness if the money is used for qualified purposes, designed to keep employees of small businesses employed or to get them off of the unemployment rolls and back to work. The loan amounts are based on the wages that you've reported on your 2019 payroll or other tax forms. If you don't file payroll tax forms, you're a sole proprietor or you're self-employed, we understand that this program will be available to you, but the information I'm providing in this presentation may not be relevant. It is my understanding at this time that self-employed people or those who don't file payroll taxes on their own behalf will be able to apply as of April 10th. It is not clear to me at this moment whether the same form will be used then on April 10th or whether there will be a different form for those of you who don't file payroll taxes. The information here does apply to anyone with a business with less than 500 employees who does report those wages on federal payroll tax forms. As funds are allocated to you, some of the loan amount may be forgiven. The way it works is that the loan amount, we'll talk about that again a little bit later, will be calculated based on your average monthly payroll costs last year, 2019. When the funds are received to you, you have the option of using them for qualified purposes. If you use them for qualified purposes to cover your payroll expenses, for rent, utilities, or interest on a business mortgage, the amount used for those qualified purposes can be forgiven. I don't have information right now as to what that process will look like or what forms you'll need to fill out. We hope by the time that you receive the funding, that information will be available. I can tell you, though, that the amount of money you use, 75% of it, if used for payroll purposes, will be forgiven. You don't need to pay that part back. If an additional 25% of the funding that you receive is used for rent, utilities, or interest on business mortgage, that part will also be forgiven. Any amounts that aren't used for a designated purpose either can be repaid immediately, or if you needed them for a non-qualified purpose, it does become a loan. The loan is at a 1% interest rate with a 2-year repayment term. You do have 6 months from the date that the funds are received before your first payment is due. I hope that gives you some information about the Paycheck Protection Program and why it might be applicable to your business. So let's talk a little bit more about which banks are participating. Local banks are making these loans. This is not something you apply directly to the federal government for. You'll work with your friendly local bankers, people you already have a relationship with, in order to complete your loan application. The banks that already make loans guaranteed by the SBA 7A loan program are processing applications for the Paycheck Protection Program. You'll want to reach out to someone that you already have a business banking relationship with. Perhaps the local bank that already has a business line of credit or a loan for you. If you don't have a line of credit or a loan for your business, perhaps someone you have a business checking account with. You might also be able to reach out to a bank that has a personal relationship with you, your own personal checking or savings account perhaps. To find banks that are participating in this loan program, you can visit this website, sba.gov/paycheck-protection/find. When you look on that website, you may only see the primary location of a bank. We are hearing that not all branch locations appear on this website. So you want to make sure that you don't necessarily discount your own local bank just because you don't see them on the website. I would encourage you to visit your bank's website and check for information there or call for help. Right now, most banks, their lobbies are closed. You can't walk in and hand paperwork to anybody. So please be patient with your bankers. A lot of them are working from home. I would encourage you to check the websites first, then call if needed for more information. Hopefully that website will give you some information about how you can find a participating bank. So what kind of information are you going to need to apply? You're going to need copies of the federal payroll tax forms that you filed for all 4 quarters in 2019. Those are commonly known as the federal 941 form. And I'll show you an example of that in just a minute. We have an example loan calculation worksheet so you can figure out just how much you might be applying for in a loan. You'll need a list of your employees and their wages. These are for all of your employees and what you are paying them as of February 15th of this year. You'll need your articles of organization or incorporation for the business. You'll need copies of the business owner's driver's licenses. You'll need an operating agreement or partnership agreement if your business has one. Not all do. You'll need the official Paycheck Protection Program Application form, which you'll get from your participating banker, and the beneficial ownership form, which you'll also get from your participating banker. I'm now going to show you examples of some of these documents so you know what you're looking for as you dig through your filing cabinet. So the first one is the federal tax form 940 or 941 for 2019. And this is what that form looked like. If you handle your own payroll taxes on behalf of your employees, you're going to dig through your filing cabinet for something that looks like this. If you don't handle your own payroll, you want to reach out to your CPA, tax preparer, or online service, perhaps, that applies on your behalf. This is what you're looking for. You should have one for each of the 4 quarters last year. It'll have your employer identification number, the business name, address, and number of employees that you paid during that time period, how much you paid. Please note that the amount that you paid would include reportable tips as well as federal income tax and what period this form was for. So you'll want to make sure to gather all 4 of these forms for last year. The next thing is you'll take that information and fill out an example loan calculation worksheet. What you're seeing here is something I received from my bank. This may not be an official document, but it will help you understand where we're headed with this information. So from those 941 forms that we just referenced, you'll get for each quarter what was the total amount you paid in payroll for each of the 4 quarters, and you'll list that here. If you receive any funding from the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, you would put in how much you've already received as of April 3rd. We understand that quite a few people have applied, but yet have not received any funding yet. If you haven't received any money yet, but you have applied, that's okay. Go ahead and put 0. You haven't received any money yet. If you cover health insurance, including insurance premiums or retirement funding for your employees, you would provide some supporting invoices and information here and how much total you spent for the year 2019. If any of your employees are paid in excess of $100,000, you need to deduct that here. Most of us small businesses don't pay our employees more than $100,000, quite frankly. If you are in that case, you want to talk to your banker a little bit more or reach out to us for help. If any of your employees live outside of the United States, you need to deduct the amount paid to them. If you've already provided qualified and family leave wages under the Coronavirus Response Act, you may need to deduct that amount already paid as well. For most of us, though, we're just going to add up what our payroll was for 2019, and that will total here. Divide that by 12. That would be your average monthly wages for last year. That helps a little bit if there's some seasonality to your business. And then multiply that amount by 2.5, and that gives us our eligible loan amount under this program. We'll talk a little bit more about what to do with this information in a minute. That's just an example of the kind of information you'll be tracking and how we calculate this. The next thing you'll need in order to apply is a list of your employees and what you were paying them as of February 15th, 2020. So you'll list the employee name, the wage, and how that wage is applied. So in this case, we're showing Jane Doe makes $56,000 per year, and Michael Jones here makes $11.50 per hour. You'll want to list all of your employees and how they're paid. The next thing you're going to need are your articles of organization or incorporation for your business. This is a document that gets created when you register for a limited liability company or incorporate or Schedule S corporation with the state of Wisconsin. This is an example here of what that document, the top of it, looks like. You want to dig through your files to find this. Here's a hint. You would have gotten this either by mail or email shortly after you registered your business with the state of Wisconsin. You would have also used this document to open a business checking account or take out a loan in the past. So you might look around through those files. If you're not able to find your articles of organization for a limited liability company or your articles of incorporation for a C Corp or an S Corp, and you're in the state of Wisconsin, you can order a copy from this website. This is the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions website. You can order your copy there. You might want to search first on their website to see that this document exists. If Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions does not have your business registered, you don't have one of these documents. Stop here. You're probably a sole proprietor. And in that case, you want to wait until we have further information on April 10th. But if you are a limited liability company, a partnership, something that's been registered with the state of Wisconsin as an S Corp or C Corporation, and you can't find your form, that's where you can order one. The cost to order a replacement copy is $10. If you need it really quickly, there's a $25 expedited fee. You pay that directly to the state of Wisconsin via that website. The next document that you'll need is the Paycheck Protection Application form. This is something you'll receive from your vendor, your banker that's participating in the program. So at the top, you'll note what type of business you are, sole proprietor, partnership, C Corp. Again, sole proprietors, independent contractors, or self-employed individuals, we are awaiting further information about whether this is the same application you'll be using or if there will be a different one available. You'll fill out here what your trade name is if it's different from your business legal name, your business address. This is the business employer ID number or your social if your business does not have an employer ID number. This is your name for the primary contact there and your business phone number and email address. Most of that information should be fairly self-explanatory to you. The next thing it asks for is the average monthly payroll, and that's why we encouraged you first to get your federal 941 tax filings, and then that worksheet. Divide everything you spent last year on payroll by the number 12 for 12 months, and that'll get you your average monthly payroll. You take your average monthly payroll and multiply it times 2.5. You would add in any economic injury disaster loan amount here. In this case, we haven't received any yet, so we'll leave that 0. So the total amount here that we'd be applying for, let's say our average monthly payroll was $10,000. Then in the next box, we would multiply 2.5 times 10,000. So that would be $30,000 we'd be applying for under the terms of this program. The number of employees, that includes the number of employees, both full-time and part-time, that are on your payroll. For the purpose of the loan, you can choose whether you want it to cover just payroll, the lease or mortgage interest, or utilities. I can't at the moment see any reason why you wouldn't choose all 3 of them unless your business does not have a lease or mortgage interest. So that's my recommendation at this time. The next part of the form asks you to list all owners who have 20% or more of the equity of the applicant. Let me translate for you. You're going to list everyone who owns part of this business, whether they own 20% or more. For most of you, there's probably only 1 or 2 business owners. So here you fill out the owner name, title, that could be owner, president, emperor, whatever it is you use for your title, what percentage ownership they have, what their social security number is, and what their address is. If this space is too small for you, or you have more than 2 owners of the business, you'll want to attach another sheet where you've typed out the information so it's legible. After that, the form asks you a number of yes or no questions. Some of these might seem a little complicated to you, so I'll do my best here to explain them. Question 1 asks if you are suspended, debarred, declared ineligible by any federal department or an agency. You would know is the short answer on that one. You would have gotten some letter in the mail. You would probably have defaulted on a previous federal loan or something like that. So if you haven't received any federal funding before or gotten in trouble with the federal government about loans, the answer to this one is probably no. If you're presently involved in any bankruptcy, then you would need to check yes on this one. If you are involved in an active bankruptcy, you are not eligible for this loan program. The next question is, have you or any of the owners of this business or any business that you've owned or been controlled by any of the owners ever received a guaranteed loan from the SBA or federal government that is currently delinquent or has defaulted in the last 7 years? So really what this is asking is anyone related to the ownership of this business, anyone who is an owner of this business or another business they've owned, have you defaulted on a loan that the government has made to you in the last 7 years? If so, you are not eligible to apply for this program. If not, go ahead and check the no box there. The third question is, do you or any owner of this business have a common management with any other business? Do you own another business is really the question there. If the answer is yes, list all of those businesses and describe who owns what and how this all works on a separate sheet. The fourth question is, have you received an economic injury disaster loan by April 3rd? Please note, this is not asking if you've applied for it, but only whether or not you received any money as of April 3rd. If yes, you'll provide additional information. If you've only applied but not yet received money, the answer to this question is no. The next questions here. Is the application, I need to move my slides to the next page here. It asks if anyone who owns 20% or more of this business is subject to criminal indictment, arraignment, or other formal criminal charges, whether or not they've been brought completely, or if they're presently incarcerated on probation or parole. You'll answer that question and then confirm your response. Please note, we are looking for all of the owners of this form to initial it if possible. The next question asks if within the last 5 years, Has the business owner or any of the business owners been convicted, pled guilty, pled no contest, or placed on pretrial diversion for any felony? If so, you'll mark the box yes. If not, no. And you'll initial there as well to confirm your response to that question. The next question down asks if all of the applicant's employees, so all of the employees for the business you're applying on behalf of, do they all live in the United States? You'll answer yes or no to that question. Question 8 asks if you are a franchise that's listed in the SBA franchise directory. You'll answer that question. If you are a franchise, that doesn't mean you're not qualified for this. They're just asking that question. So that's the first page of the Paycheck Protection Application form. We'll move ahead to the second page. The top here, I encourage you to read the certifications and authorizations here. Basically, you're agreeing to follow the rules and that you'll do your best to provide all the information truly and factually. You want to read all of that and then move on to the second half of that page. The second half of that page asks you to certify. Here is asking you for the authorized representative to initial each one of these lines. Not all of the owners of the business need to initial, just whoever is filing this application. So you want to read all those certifications there and initial those boxes. At the bottom, you'll sign the form, date it, and print your name and title. The last form that we're asking to provide to your bank is also one you'll get from your banker. This is the beneficial ownership information form. You'll put in the business name, the taxpayer ID, which again is your employer ID number, also known as your EIN, or FEIN for Federal Employer ID number. That would be your taxpayer ID number there. Your business address here, the name of the person who is providing the information, that would be you, and the reason for collecting the information is for a loan. It's going to ask for the ownership information, the name and the personal address, as well as the date of birth and social security number for all of the owners of this business. So this form, again, will be provided by your bank at the time you apply. The information may look different on the form that you received from your bank. But be prepared, that might be the kind of information you have to gather. The name, address, date of birth, and social security number for all of the owners who own 25% or more of the business. That was a lot of information. I sure hope it was helpful to you. If you're looking for more details about this program or any other loan or grant program that might be available to help you get through these difficult times, or if you just want to talk about your business with someone who understands and can help you make financial decisions or other decisions that might be weighing on your mind, we encourage you to reach out to the Wisconsin Small Business Development Center. If you're outside of Wisconsin, no worries. Check out the Americas SBDC.org. There are people like me serving every county, every state of the union. We work with small business owners every single day. This is our job. We provide free, confidential business consulting services to all small businesses in the United States. We're glad to help you as you navigate these challenging times or to talk about your business in general. For more information about SBA funding opportunities, please visit the Small Business Administration website, sba.gov/funding-programs. You can read the rest of the URL there. Wisconsin and America's Small Business Development Centers are funded in part by a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Everything in this video, though, came from my own experience and information. They're not necessarily the straight information from the SBA, and if anything disagrees with what I've said, the SBA website will probably have the right information. We wish you all good luck. Go ahead and fill out these forms, get your documents ready. We'll provide additional information about upcoming loan and other programs. So please stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much and have a lovely afternoon.